Okay. When I was talking about Diddy, he just kept reminding me of some other like-minded soul. So let's look at DiCaprio because speaking of sick fucks, here we go. Ugh. He's always been so gross to me, and having like been summoned by him several different times, um, can confirm that he is so. If nobody has seen Dawn's Plum, it was some movie once upon a time that they got like banished, which I think you can still find on the internet. Um, it is exactly who he is. Like just somebody, just the worst petulant child you can imagine. It's just somebody that's always trying to just push the boundaries, see what they can get away with, see how much they can make you do for them. Like, just what are you willing to do for me? And then you can kind of see that in just like his aura, his self care. It's just like, like I look like this and I'm still getting 20-year-old models. What do you got to say about that? Like, ugh. Ugh. Like, and how? Who are these women who are still dating him? What do they see in him? Is he even popular anymore? Like, I never thought he was good looking, but he at least had fame. Like now, does he? I don't know. Don't follow him. Happy to never see him again. But I just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I never did. I don't know. I don't know. Please explain this to me. I have no idea, but I do know he's just like gross. He just gives gross vibes. However, I would highly recommend watching that Dawn's Plum movie. I couldn't even watch it, but I got enough of it just to know, like, it confirmed everything that I thought. It confirmed all my initial instincts of him. Just that's who he really is. He's not this like planet saving, like caring best actor. No. He's also one that takes himself incredibly seriously. Like he thinks he's really something. And I wish other people didn't fall for that. So let's look at his chart and see what we can derive. So another Scorpio with a Libra moon. Great. So again, that Libra allows him to excuse and relieve himself of all his sick behavior. And Mercury Libra, he does seem dumb. Libra's kind of dumb. They're good storytellers. They're not good at really doing anything, which I guess I would consider dumb. Okay, so I guess it depends on your definition of dumb. Like I'm sure you can sit around and think of every different aspect and perspective of any different issue, but are you going to do anything about it? Are you even going to execute your thought? Because Libras are actually the least likely to even see a thought through because there's so many and they're so concerned about balance and like they just can't help but go one step forward, one step back and like talk themselves into a situation, but immediately talk themselves out of a situation. Like it's just, they always come back to zero. It's very inconsequential. It's very just worthless, in my opinion. Um, it actually explains a lot. Like that, he probably does not even see the correlation that like, if he's talking about the planet and how we need to save it, and XYZ are so bad, and you all have to drink from paper straws and drive Priuses. Yet he can vacation on yachts every season and fly private only. I once had this idiot in Hollywood try to justify why he was flying private to me. And it was so absurd. Like you could just tell like this idiot still had the rose colored glasses on. And I was just sitting there like, are you trying to convince me or yourself of this? I think the excuse went something like this. that he just needs to travel with his entourage because he just doesn't know how to do anything by himself. And then since he's traveling with such a huge entourage, more than you can fit in first class, he just needs a private plane. It's only logical, right? I'm pretty sure that was the argument. And I was just sitting there like, who believes this? You? Him? Because I know it's not me. I'm way too much land to believe that crap. So it just, it, and mind you, this person is like working in the industry and has been for like 20, 30 years. So it's not like, I'm not talking about like a 20-year-old model that's just like enthralled with him. Like this guy should have known better. But again, sometimes we see what we want to see and we hear what we want to hear. And I personally think the biggest betrayal is if and when we lie to ourselves, fool ourselves, betray ourselves. It's another thing when someone else does it. Everyone needs to take responsibility for themselves. If someone else fools you, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, we live and learn, right? It's the only way to actually progress. So, anyway, I'm pretty sure that was all the argument. Just that he's so inept that he needs to travel with more people than you can fit in first class. And he's so caring that he doesn't want to take those seats away from any other millionaire. So he just flies a private plane. He doesn't want to hurt the planet, but sometimes you just can't function on your own and you need your entourage with you 24/7. Exceptions must be made. He wasn't able to explain all those yacht vacations, so whoopsie. But it's just so stupid. Um, the Libra could very much explain. Actually, the more I think about it, it's very Libran to not even be able to connect those dots. Like he probably really they don't even they've never connected in his brain. The fact that he vacations on yachts at least once a year, which are the biggest polluters of the planet, and is constantly flying around the world in private jets. I think he rivals Taylor Swift, who is also fighting for the planet. Um, starts at home, kids. If you got to do for yourself before you do for others, if you want to save the planet, it starts with you. You first, bitch. Stop flying private. Then maybe the rest of us will drink from paper straws. I personally will never go as far as buying a Prius, but to each their own. So Venus, Scorpio. So he's attracted to very like mysterious, kind of dark, scorpionic women that are probably down for whatever he wants to experiment with that night. Mars, Scorpio. Ooh, yeah, I can see that. He attacks the world in a very kind of sick, surreptitious roundabout, like a scorpion would, like not like an Aries, like head on in your face, just attacative. And you pretty much see what it is right up front. It's a scorpion. Like it'll just slither around in the dark. It'll go invisible. Like it'll hide in shoes. It'll strike when you're not looking. It's just very surreptitious and dark and behind the scenes, but deadly. Yep, I can see him doing that. Jupiter, Pisces.
Great. So he's lucky.
Pisces in Jupiter, very, very lucky, very, very fortuitous, which explains a lot as to why he's been so famous for so long. I think, anyway, because I don't think he's talented. He's not attractive. He seems like a real shit to be around. So, again, no idea why he's famous. I mean, sometimes people are despicable, but they have a talent. Like they're a great musician or a great, great actor. So you just put up with them because they're talent. Leo doesn't have that, but he does have a Pisces Jupiter, which makes up for a lot. So he can just be the petulant child he is, going around pushing people's buttons and seeing what they'll put up with, and yet somehow people like him for it. I mean, hey, he's still around, so actions speak louder than words. He wouldn't still be around if people didn't like it to some degree.
Yeah. Saturn, Cancer. That's interesting. So his lessons are going to come like via family, either like having family taken away or just learning the hardest lessons via his family or just never being able to create a family. Cancer is all about the family, like the family, the home, just the cozy, the comfort, the safety, everything that is can be under the umbrella of home, an idealized home, just all those good things that kind of is everybody's landing point, their home base, their safety net. Again, all those good things are represented by Cancer, but Saturn is your lessons, which either means you are deprived of that your whole life or your lessons are going to come through that. Like, this isn't so thorough, but Saturn can work in like one of two ways where you're either deprived of these Cancerian traits your whole life and like you secretly want them or work towards them, or you have them at one point and then you like lose them all of a sudden. It's kind of one or the other, but again, it's just Saturn is the harsh teacher. You're going to learn harsh lessons via Saturn and whatever sign you have in there you're kind of either going to lose or be deprived of in some way, shape, or form, or have to work. You have to learn the lessons to get the reward, or you have it to begin with, and you learn the lessons by losing it. True, more often than not. Of course, there's other things. Like there's different ways. Like sometimes, say, like your Saturn is Cancer, and you literally find like a Cancerian, like moon sign or ascendant sign person, and they just wreck your life, or it's sometimes it's very literal and it comes just directly to you through one person like that. So again, there's variations, but being deprived of those traits or having them and losing them follows through fairly often. So it's interesting considering he's like what 500 years old and has never been married and has never dated anyone over 25. So obviously family ain't on the way or any sort of objective. And I have no idea what his family dynamic is. Was he a child star? Sounds familiar. Anybody who was a child star, I question the parents. Let's just say that. Um, North Node Sagittarius. He likes the idea of putting all those librarian ideals into action, but Sagittarius is the air sign, a fire sign. So if anyone is going to lose focus and get distracted, it's a Sagittarius. So again, kind of explains how he can protest so much to save the planet and all the people on it, yet go out and ruin it himself, the planet and the people. Ugh, his ascendant is a Libra. Ew. So it's all Libra and Scorpio. It's kind of very similar to Diddy. I can see why they're friends. Like does attract like in charts. Like look at yours and your friends' charts because more often than not we choose our friends, so we are drawn to certain people and we are just detracted from others. So anybody who like you choose in your life, you have similar charts, I guarantee you. Um Unfortunately it doesn't work that way in love relationships because we get so distracted by other things. Looks, fame, money, status, power, all those really important things. I think I would rather have compatibility and fun, but to each their own. Yeah, this chart is like very similar to Diddy. So it's basically Libra and Scorpio, which is so interesting to me because Scorpio is like the bottom of the ocean and an unevolved Scorpio is the most terrifying and lethal and hurtful thing in the zodiac. You can either choose to hurt yourself by just kind of being that tortured soul and just dependent on the drugs and the alcohol as your only out, your only escape until you actually do die, probably from an overdose. Or you choose to torture other people and put them through the same pain that you are feeling or felt at one point in time. But now putting other people through pain somehow takes back your power, something like that. Whatever excuse. And that's the Libra. The Libra can excuse it. So the Libra mind can, it's like the best storyteller. If you want to just make up some fairy tale, some story, if you want to excuse anything, if you want to come up with some random off the wall reason as to why you did what you did or why it's justified or why, oh, it's their fault, not yours, Libra. Libra will do it. So that Libra kind of excuses them from all their sick and torturous behavior, according to them anyway. It relieves them of the extra burden of it. They can justify it to themselves, for themselves, thanks to that Libra. Which kind of explains why they are the way they are. Because out of all the people in like Hollywood, the industry, whether it's music, film, just fashion, it's all the industry. From what I can recall, and this is even before like any of the Diddy shit came out, I think I had the most negative um impressions of Diddy and DiCaprio. Those are the two people I probably liked the least. Not that I liked anybody, but just, whenever they were around, or if I knew that they would be at a party, I wouldn't go. Let's just say that. Just not people I want to be around. And just, you know, ugh. And just another like side note as to how prevalent this predatory behavior is and what especially young women should know. I cannot tell you how many times I was asked, like as a 16, 17, I think by the time I was 18, they gave up on this idea, but I was asked by my agent if I were willing to do anything for my career, verbatim, like in quotes. So, like, I think it went something like this. So, are you willing, start the quote. So, are you willing to do anything for your career? End quote. And as a 16-year-old, I genuinely didn't know what they meant. I might have had an idea, but again, I'm a lot of land. I'm very analytical and I'm just, my brain works in numbers always. So I want the details. I want the facts. Write it down. Like, what exactly do you mean by anything? So that's the way my brain works. So I was never just like a whatever. Um, And also, when in doubt, don't. So when I was younger and I didn't know what they meant, I think I would just say nope, nope. Am I willing to do anything? No. Doesn't sound too smart to me. And then I realized that the more you say no, the less work you get. True story. Um, so I just started asking for details, and I would just be like, "Well, what do you mean? What exactly do you mean? Can I get this in writing?" And as soon as I started asking or pushing back, they would change the subject. And then they would wait a few months and then ask again. And mind you, it's pretty much only the men who ask this. And there might have been one woman that was like the owner of, or the owner, director of the agency, or maybe two. I was with a few different agencies. We had disagreements, and then I would leave and go to a different one. I'm not one to waste time. Um, but just the fact that you are asking blatantly a 16-year-old that, and it was like in front of everybody. It wasn't like it wasn't in private. It wasn't in like a meeting room or anywhere. It was like at the desk where all the agents sit. where people are walking in and out, you don't know who, um, just ask that blatantly, repeatedly. And obviously never said yes, but I bet a lot of people do. And then they regret it. So, kids, when in doubt, don't. And listen to these stories, especially the ones that come out in court, because again, you're not supposed to lie in court. So, if you can trust anything or take anything at face value, court, court. Just know that like the industry is kind of meant to eat people up and spit people out. And you really do have to make an effort to kind of carve your own path and save yourself, basically. But it can be done. I am living proof that it can be done, that you can get in, make your money, get what you wanted, travel, and get out and never look back. So anything that is meant to be used against you can be used for you if you just put in the extra thought and are willing to fight for yourself and just stand up for yourself. And I think the more that you know yourself, because again, stand for nothing, fall for anything, the more you just know yourself and care about yourself and respect yourself, the less likely you're going to take shit from anybody. So know your personal chart, know what you like and want to emphasize about yourself, and then what you can improve upon or strengthen or help, like say it's a Scorpio, and just do the best with yourself and your life for yourself, by yourself, because you are truly the only one that can do the work. Anybody else can just help. I can help read your chart. Other people can help talk, exercise, process. It just, people help in ways that they don't even know they're helping, just spending time, having conversations, in-depth conversations. I'm not talking like about the weather. No one needs any more of those conversations. But other people can help, sometimes just by being present with you, but no one else can do for you. It's a fine line. But on the other hand, the reward for all that hard work is knowing that you can do for yourself. And that's accomplishment, and that's pride, and that's power, and that's confidence. So don't be afraid of that. It like the ends definitely justify the means. It's hard work, but the reward is worth it. Also, say I was like at a party, because sometimes I would just go to parties, especially if my agents were going to be there, just so I looked more serious about my career. I'd go and I'd say hi and then I would leave, in hopes that they would never realize that I had left. But anyway, so say somebody, again, I was never really a celebrity person. So a lot of these people who like reached out, I never heard of, especially if they were in the sports world. Your guess is as good as mine. So anyway, they would reach out and want to like get my number or like connect. There were people call my people, in other words, my agents, and I would just say like, no, like not interested, because I wasn't. That was never my objective. Again, I wanted to travel. I didn't want to whore myself out. So whenever I said no to that, um, my agents would get very frustrated with me, and you could like sense their anger, and one just kind of yelled at me that like this would really help my career. um and that just tells you how strategic this is and how deals are made, and you are just meant to be used by the more powerful people around you until you gain that same power. And then I don't actually know if people stop messing with you, because it's just a chain of power. There's always more to gain, and there's always somebody more powerful than you, or wealthier, or more famous. So it's just a constant battle and a constant like monkey branch ladder climbing, just whatever. Um, but it's just another example of how the way it is behind the scenes is not what the public sees. And by the time people see behind the scenes, they're usually too deep in it to see it because they don't want to see it. And they're too dependent, like they don't have a safety net, they don't have an alternative, they don't have other ways out. So they have that added pressure that, like, oh, well, they have to just keep going forth. There is no back or there is no alternative way. And I think a lot of people get trapped that way. So it's always good to have your contingency plans and your own safety net and your own backup. Money serves as a good backup. It can buy a lot of different things, plane tickets, home. But it can also just buy time. So there's a lot to be said for just having a savings because it really is your own safety net and your own way out. So if you want to take those risks, be your own safety net. Otherwise, kids, yeah, just use these predators as an example and as a lesson and as a warning, just something to look out for. As long as you know what people are capable of, you have the heads up. And then when you see the red flags, you'll know exactly what they are and where they lead and what to do about it, as opposed to kind of learning in the moment or playing catch up or like having to fathom what you see because freeze, fight, or fawn. And unfortunately, most women are freeze or fawn, not real fighters. So, like, again, by the time you're in it, it's already too late. So, listen, learn, remember these things. And then if you are going down that road or into the industry or that's where you want to be, then just protect yourself and know like where your line is, what is worth it and what is not. Like, yeah, you want to be a singer. Yeah, you want to be an actor. If that's your real passion, go for it. But know what where the line is that you will not cross. That would be my advice. And then if you are ever broached with that, it's time to wash your hands and leave and do your backup plan. Because even if you get what you want, if you sold your soul, for lack of a better word, or had to do something that like is just going to be so hard to live with afterwards, what is it worth anyway? It kind of takes away all the reward and all the pleasure from getting that goal if it comes at such a high price. Like, yeah, you got the goal, but you got twice as much negative that now you have to carry around with you for the rest of your life. So, what's it worth at the end of the day? And there's always another way. There's always alternatives. It might take a little longer to figure it out, but no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning oneself. It's one of my favorite sayings. And by owning oneself, I just mean having like autonomy, having your own free will, being able to stand up for yourself, liking yourself, respecting yourself. Because if you don't, no one else is going to. Lead by example. So just my 2 cents there. There's always a lesson to be learned. And I just, I hate seeing these predators get away with and be able to take advantage of so many different people throughout the decades. Because even to this day, it's the same damn people doing this shit. I mean, I'm sure there's more added to the group, but it's the same people. And I'm sure there were even more before that time, but ugh, it's gone on long enough. It's time they are taken down and held to account. And why aren't any women coming out against DiCaprio? I know they're there. Speak up. Now's the time.
Anyway, so yeah, to sum up Leo's chart, he's basically Libra, which doesn't count for much, but gives him that airy disconnect from responsibility, morality, integrity, all those good things that would create a conscience. And that just leaves Scorpio, which I very much see in him, just the sick, surreptitious, the worst version of a Scorpio. And that Pisces Jupiter actually means that he's just super lucky in life. Pisces Jupiters tend to be the ones that just everything always works out for. There's always somebody there to save you or pick you up or help you. Like you are just being carried through your life by outside fortune and well-meaning people and luck. So yeah, he's basically the worst version of a Scorpio with a lot of luck, and that Libra to relieve him of any responsibility for his evil deeds. And that's Leo's chart in a nutshell.